Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack, today is November 25th, and today's episode is going to start with Rocket Pool's birthday. We're going to be explaining how that works. We're also going to be talking about the price action, which is interesting and worth commenting. We're going to talk about the rETH discount. We're going to talk about the management committees. We're going to talk about Euler and a whole lot more. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Okay, so we're going to start here with this tweet that I put out earlier today after Mountain Bee, I think, posted in the Rocket Pool Discord that it was Rocket Pool's birthday, and today was the day 7 years ago that Rocket Pool had the ICO for the token. So I said, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear Rocket Pool, happy birthday to you. I said the best protocol in Ethereum is 7 years old today. It's 8th year, and I made a typo there with an apostrophe. I said its 8th year is going to be its best yet, with amazing Saturn upgrades coming. The fee switch is ready to turn on. So 7 years since the RPL ICO happened. For those of you who were not around in ICO era, an ICO, also called an initial coin offering. Basically, what would happen is a team would put out a white paper and they would say, hey, this is what we want to do. This is the project that we want to build. And can you give us some money up front? And in return, we'll give you some tokens, and the tokens will become, the value driver of the project, supposedly. And we'll all make money together. And people who took part in the ICO here, they did really, really well with the RPL. I think, I'm not sure of the exact price, but I think each RPL token was worth somewhere around like just a few cents, like less than a cent even, I think, somewhere around there, or just some cents. Maybe I should check that out actually. But anyway, RPL of course is there were thousands of these that happened. Most of them were went nowhere. Like the teams raised money, they spent it really badly, or they just absconded with the money, and then the token holders were left with nothing of value. However, of course, Rocket Pool is one of the few real success stories of the ICO era. And it is currently managing billions of dollars of TVL, and now it's 7 years old. Jasper here had a tweet about this as well. It says, on this day, 7 years ago, RPL's ICO went live. In those 7 years, the Rocket Pool protocol has added near a quarter of all of Ethereum's nodes and multiple billions USD in ETH staked. It's the 14th largest protocol in all of crypto by TVL. So these are not like layer ones. These are protocols built on layer ones, projects. And yeah, it's just huge. So this was really cool. Here, Jasper has a screenshot of the timeline. I think this is from the Rocket Pool website. It says May 2018, the Rocket Pool secures investment from Consensus, but before that, October 2017, the Rocket Pool public token crowd sale takes place, providing initial funding for the protocol work to begin. And then work begins. So the date from the source that I had, which was some ICO tracking website, said that it started on November 25th and finished on January 7th, 2018. January 7th, 2018, of course, was pretty close to the Pico top for ETH for 2 cycles ago. So that was definitely not fun, but those years after that were quite tough until mainnet launch, and of course the rest, as this is history. So that happy birthday to Rocket Pool of sorts. Okay, and then another tweet from me here. I said that RPL has broken the 3-month accumulation zone. It's now $13 on Binance. It's traded between $8.48 and $12.86 during that time. This break indicates bullish strength for RPL. I said RPL is fully diluted with a market cap of $266 million. There's a huge amount of space for the protocol, for the token to run. So not financial advice or anything like that. Shout out to Val, but this is actually really interesting. So let's have a look at the chart on Binance and see what we're seeing. Here we see, I got the daily chart up, and basically from somewhere around, the end of August, basically right at the end of August, the middle of August, around then, RPL went down from $16 and then it kind of went down all the way down to $8.80, somewhere thereabouts. And from that period of the end of August, it basically hit this area of around $12 and some cents, like a few times. And it didn't get through it, and then they went down, and they went back up to try again, and they went down and couldn't get. So this was kind of an accumulation zone. It doesn't feel good because, of course, it was at lows. So it was, hitting lows for the cycle against ETH, and then it was also hitting cycle lows against the US dollar. So that felt horrible. However, according to charts, when you're in a horizontal area like this, like between two lines, it's called a channel. So we were trading within that channel, and it kind of looked like an accumulation zone. Accumulation zone, according to technical analysis experts, is like an area where it's a good idea to buy, and then the token can hopefully go up from there. And today what happened is the RPL token broke up from the accumulation zone. So, that $12.80, 86 cents number kind of came, and RPL shot through it. So if we look at the smaller time frames, here we can see that, as of about a couple of days ago, RPL was under $10. And since then it has rallied really strongly, up nearly 40% at its peak, and it went up to $13.89 earlier on today, and it's revisited that number a couple of times and it hasn't been able to get through that yet. It currently is at $13.30, so RPL is a big gainer. At one point earlier today it was up 20% on the day, and that is after a couple of strong performance days. Now, if you get back to the Binance chart and the daily sessions here, you'll see that the volume has actually been trending upwards quite significantly. Compared to where the volume was a couple of weeks ago. Like 3 weeks ago, into the end of October, the volume was less than $1 million a day. $400,000 a day. A couple of times, and $1 million, but really struggling. And then today the volume is $15 million a day. Yesterday it was 7 million. The day before that was 7 million. So this break through the channel, and then with the high volume, tends to be indicative of a market reversal pattern, and really hoping that this signals the beginning of a bullish momentum. But of course, with crypto, technical analysis, Patera, shout out to you, is astrology for crypto bros, as they like to say. These lines that we're kind of drawing on the charts don't mean squat. The only thing that matters is the price number, right? You can't predict the prices that are going to come based on the lines that you see on the chart. However, people who believe in this can kind of make it manifest. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of sorts, and a whole lot of people have been talking about this. So here, Crypto Alvin put out a tweet saying that this was on the 24th, so this was yesterday. This was before today's move, and kind of drew pretty lines on the chart showing that the same accumulation zone that I was just showing you all just now, and then a breakout of that kind of going upwards, mirroring the pattern that we took to get into it. So the pattern that we took to get into it was at in the 20s, like 20 something dollars, and then it kind of came down to the teen numbers, went up to $16, and then went down into those high single digits. So the pattern that Alvin's drawn here is back up to that $16 range, then back down to the range that we're kind of in now, like the $15 or $14 or so, and then back up to those numbers in the 20s. So hey, I'm really hoping it works out that way. And here we have Crypto Candy as well, and they've drawn a slightly different pattern on the chart, going a lot further back, all the way back to the beginning of 2023, the middle of 2023, and they're showing a pattern called a descending wedge. Now, a descending wedge is a really interesting pattern. I'll show you the analysis of it from Investopedia in a second, but here you can see that the RPL's lows have been getting lower, and the highs have been getting lower as well, into this wedge shape. Kind of like the line here isn't drawn very prettily, but you can kind of see a descending wedge pattern. And if you look at Investopedia, it talks here about a falling wedge, and it says when the securities price has been falling over time, a wedge pattern can occur just as the trend makes its final downward move. The trend lines above the highs and below the lows on the price chart can converge as the price slide loses momentum and buyers step in to slow the rate of decline. Before the lines converge, the price may break out above the upper trend line. So this is what Crypto Candy was showing, is that we are now breaking above that trend line, and that can mean that we're into a bullish period. And then, you can read about wedge patterns if you want on Investopedia. None of what I've been saying, of course, is investment advice. This is not financial advice. I'm not asking you to invest or trade based on these tweets. I'm just using them to give you an indication of what people out there are thinking. The fact of the matter is I shared the screenshot earlier today of the all-time low output. It's not really all-time low, but just cycle low. And the cycle low on the ratio was 0.002997775. And the cycle low on the US dollar was $8.67 or thereabouts. And the price today was up 60% against the lows on the dollar and up 33% against ETH in that time as well. So RPL's performance in the last couple of weeks, since the election, basically when we hit the low on November 5th, has been really strong. And I'm hoping that this momentum can carry on in the days and weeks to come. Okay, and then just to get an idea of some of the other tokens that are performing. Here's a comparison. We have Lido's LDO token that has gone up 19% today. We have ETHify that's gone up 6% today. And we have the RPL token that has gone up around 15% at the time of this screenshot, which was a few hours ago. Right now, Binance is showing me that it has gone up actually 13.5% right now. But it's still performing really strongly. At one point earlier today, it was up 20%. So that's looking quite good. Okay, something that's not looking quite good is over the weekend we had a new low for the rETH going off peg, and the peg went down to 1% below the the contract price or the Oracle price for the token, and that I haven't seen these low prices in a while, and the reason for that, of course, is that the rETH minting is actually a quite low demand right now. There's some discussion as to why it's happening, and there are some staking protocols that have been losing TVL, and a couple of staking protocols that are moderately or mildly gaining TVL. But Rocket Pool is currently losing TVL, sadly, and that, of course, is not good. Another impact of this is that we have 306 validators that are currently waiting to stake. Now, because there is a discount on the secondary market, it means that people, instead of minting rETH through the contract, they are now just buying it on the secondary market instead. And because they're buying it in the secondary market instead, it means that ETH isn't coming into the deposit pool. The queue just went to 307. It's not coming into the deposit pool. It's instead, going to first be used to bring up the price on the secondary market, and then once it gets back to peg, then it'll start coming back into the deposit pool. So the last time this happened, when we went off peg, it was about 0.88% below peg, and the way that we got back to peg was by a large node operator leaving their stake, and that ETH went back into the buffer, and it was arbed away by bots, and we came back to peg. With this right now, this problem is that unless we get a big mint or unless we get another node operator leaving, then we'll be at a discount. However, it's not all bad. Over the weekend, even though we went down to 1%, then the peg did improve, and it climbed up by about half a percentage point to about 0.56, somewhere in that area. And right now, I just used this a little while before recording. The discount is at 0.7%. So that's where we stand right now. It's a little bit disappointing that we have this discount, because it's putting pressure on the rest of the protocol. Hopefully, we get a couple of decent buys in on the secondary market to get us back to peg, and then hopefully some sustained inflows into rETH would be very nice right now. We really need that. Okay, this Langas here a couple of days ago, or yesterday, sent out the amounts for the different management committees, and he actually put a really interesting piece of information here. So he said that the total PDAO inflation amount is 22,259 RPL. The GMC will be getting 4,563 of this. The rest will be going to the IMC and the PDAO's rainy day fund. And then he actually said this was really interesting. He says, I'm also talking with the IMC about the plan going forward. Now that the PDAO governance is enabled, we will need to raise on-chain proposal to set up a recurring payment contract so you guys can claim automatically, which is actually really awesome. And I'm really happy about this. Like, this is of course a benefit of the on-chain voting that we activated, and the community being able to tweak parameters. One of those, of course, is the disbursement of these funds, which is absolutely awesome to see that the community, we can start taking control of this again. Start taking control of this. So it reduces a little bit of power that the team has here. And then eventually we can disable bootstrap mode as well, which that's the mode that will currently let the team do this, and we can take that completely away from the team and just do it on chain ourselves. Okay, we got a really cool post here, and this is in the IMC's public chat thread. This is a person from Euler, or Euler, sorry. I think I forgot what it was. Because I thought it was pronounced Euler, but people told me it was Euler. So I think it's Euler. I'm going to go with that for now until someone corrects me. So here, Ant said, GM all, the Euler prime market on Euler Finance has seen some nice growth in the last couple of weeks following our relaunch, and it seems like it's the right time to add rETH back to our vaults in this market. So this is the benefit would be numerous rETH holders as rETH suppliers will be able to earn yield on their deposits and use it as collateral to borrow other assets simultaneously and do one-click loops directly from the front end with multiply function on Euler. Other assets in this market that can be collateral to borrow against are for rETH. So you'll be able to deposit your rETH and you'll be able to get tokens back. So you'll be able to get things like wrapped ETH, USDC, USDT, Lido's wrapped stETH, Coinbase's CBETH, Etherfi's WeETH, that's wrapped ETH, wrapped BTC, and then a bunch of other tokens that I don't fully know what they are. But yeah, that'll actually be pretty cool. And then they go on to say the Euler DAO could likely incentivize deposits in this market with REUL tokens, as well as to enhance supply and reduce net borrow costs. This is very keen to hear the IMC's view on this. It could make sense, and how our initiative to add utility to rETH on Euler and get some support. So that post hasn't actually received a reply yet from any of the IMC members. It's funny saying that because I'm an IFC member and I haven't replied to yet either. But it's really interesting that Euler is coming back, and of course they had a lot of rETH deposited in their first iteration before their problems. But yeah, it looks like they're back and they're on track. Okay, well, this is actually really interesting because there were some whale movements going on a couple of days ago, and it seems like what happened is that this person withdrew funds from Aave, and then they used that to buy rETH, and it looks like they were using they were going to sell stETH and buy more rETH as well. Let me see if I can figure out what was going on here. Yeah, so this person sold some. Let me see, I'm making sure this is right. Yeah, they sold basically they've been moving their crypto around, and there were some decent sized buys of rETH coming in. Of course, we need a lot more of those in order to meet the capacity that we want for rETH and help us get growing again. Okay, moving on to some staking news now, and here we've got a tweet from Nixo who says that she's reposting this because it's important that we retain solo staker as the definition of node operator who validates without anything between them and the beacon chain contract. This is the most solo way of staking. So this is Nixo kind of explaining the different kinds of stakers and how they are and who they are and what they do. And what she's arguing for is that a solo staker should be a person who has 32 ETH of their own, and they stake either at home or using software, commercial software, potentially, or servers, and they're fully in control of everything that happens, and they are basically running the node however they want, either at home or on the server. So Nixo goes on to say, in contrast, the independent operators that can look at a lot of different things, like DVT stakers, Lido CSM validators, Rocket Pool, mini pool operators, solo stakers using data centers. So this is a big pool of tapped, untapped, and untapped node operators, and they're essential for decentralization. So Nixo goes on to say independent operators, as in, isn't as catchy, but I think that's good to have strict definitions to work from. Otherwise, we end up getting lost in decentralization word salads where everybody means something different. So I've seen this happening recently where people are saying, hey, you can become a solo operator, but what they're trying to say is like you can become an independent operator instead of a solo operator, whether that's from home or remote. So this chart that the table that Nixo shares is like, how much capital are these people using, where are they staked, who controls the configuration of their node, and what are examples of this. So for a solo staker, Nixo has 32 ETH. Doesn't matter where they stake it, they control the configuration. And, that's a solo staker, that's the example of it. With a home staker, they can have 32 ETH and be, the same as a solo staker, but staking from home. But residential, right? And, or they can be someone who has less than 32 ETH and then uses some kind of pool, like Rocket Pool. And the examples that Nixo gives here are mini pool operator or solo staker staking from home. And then you have a remote operator. So these are people who, either have 32 ETH or are interacting with a protocol that lets them stake with less than 32 ETH. These are people who are using servers, commercial servers, and they can control the configuration still. So these can be solo stakers, mini pool operators, or staking using AWS or another service like that. Then with managed, these are people who you give your ETH to and then they manage your stake. And this can be 32 ETH where they're managing a full node, a full validator, or they can be running a service like Rocket Pool. So all nodes or block staking or ETH pool users, then professionals, and this can be different ways of doing it, and then liquid as well. And these are just people who hold a token. They don't have anything over the controls of the configuration, and neither do people who are managed. They don't have control as well. So there were some interesting questions here from people like Obol, and even from Everstake, and from Izzy as well, from Lido. So if you want to dig into those comments and the discussion that kind of came up around this, I think that's actually really interesting. You should check it out. But I kind of agree with these definitions. I think that solo staker means a specific thing, which is a person who stakes with their own 32 ETH and they control the configuration of that node. And then with home and remote, there's some variations within that. And then those first three are examples of independent stakers. Okay, talking about staking, here we have an update from Dimi talking about CSM that launched a month ago. So he says 1 month since CSM's launch, they have 223 node operators. Of that, there are 1,465 active validators, and people have deposited 2,041 ETH into those validators, and this now makes up nearly 0.5% of all of Lido's TVL. So they're saying that it's grown. Those are interesting growth numbers. I had personally thought that they would hit their cap a lot sooner than this. Their cap is 1% cap of Lido's TVL, and they're not at that point yet. It's going to be interesting to see if they can bring on more node operators to get to that 1% number, or whether they'll have to give the node operators that already have the ability to stake more of their ETH to bring online more TVL into that module. But that's definitely very interesting to see, those numbers after a month. So thanks for sharing those, Dimi. Let's go back to the Rocket Pool community. We're going to finish the episode with a call from LFO looking for owls, basically asking for an Rocket Fuel submission thread style thread for putting in ETH news. And he says if there's anyone out there that would be interested in a Rocket Fuel like raffle for general ETH protocol submissions, I could use it to better justify a heavier ETH strategy at my job. So basically LFO works for a crypto company and they have an allocation in ETH, but he really wants them to grow their allocation in ETH, and he wants to make the case for why they should do that by getting like lots of positive news about ETH and people kind of sharing that with him through this thread. He says that he'll be willing to add raffle prizes towards this goal. So if you are interested, then you can check the thread. So I'm linking the thread below as well. So it's just called Owl ETH Alpha. So he says cross-post cool protocols and ETH related news here I can use, have a chance to win 0.05 ETH. Treat it like a Rocket Fuel submissions, but not for Rocket Pool news. So bullish ETH news, basically. If you have any, then post them here for Owls to check out and make a case for why his company should be buying more ETH. On that note, I'm going to end today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed the green over the weekend for RPL and for ETH. ETH is performing really strongly as well. It hit 3,500, which is really, really cool to see. And, we're hoping that it keeps growing. So enjoy the bullishness. Remember that, the bull market is a time when people get really excited. Even me, I lost some time today because I was checking the markets more than doing research for rocket fuel. So that's why this episode is out so late. But yeah, enjoy this time, but also don't get blown up. So yeah, that's my advice. But anyway, thanks all for watching and being part of the rocket fuel community. I hope you had a great weekend. Here's to another great week ahead. And it's Thanksgiving in the US on Thursday, so I might miss a couple of episodes. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm not sure exactly when I'll be able to record at that time. I'll try to record, but if I can't, then please forgive me. But otherwise, you'll see me tomorrow. So bye.